move around this way. I've caught all that.
Are you okay?
Yes. Go.
Sorry. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, Madam President.
Thank you very much, and welcome to President's News for Wednesday, the 9th of October. We have our club news and records, we've got results roundup, we have what's coming up, our bonus ball, and then any other news. So, I'm going to start off with our club news. Quite a bit of club news this week, actually. And while the track season is very much drawn to a close, it is definitely awards season. And just this week, we've had 3 club members recognised in the last few days. So first up, we had in the England Athletics Regional Volunteer Awards. The London event was held last Wednesday, and we had 2 club members nominated. We had John Hubbard, nominated in the Inspiring Official category. So John, as you'll know, is one of our lead officials. He's our official secretary, making sure that all our officiating obligations are adhered to when we attend league matches, which is a huge administrative undertaking. But in addition, he welcomes and supports all our new and existing officials. He has an incredible role to play, and I kind of liken John to a swan. If you see him at the track at a league match, he glides around the track with his wide-brimmed hat and his clipboard, but underneath his feet are paddling furiously. Now, mostly that's done in advance, and why he's so calm and collected on the day. But he's a huge asset to the club, and we'd be very lost without him. Our second nominee was Linda Poirou, and Linda was nominated in the new volunteer category. Linda's contribution to the club is very much behind the scenes. Linda organises all our travel and accommodation for our away matches, and she's the minutes secretary for all our committees. So very much we'd be lost without her. And actually it was quite amusing watching the awards ceremony, because the England Athletics representative that was speaking with all the nominees was quite shocked to hear from Linda that she organises all our flights and whatnot. So this was rather grand and fancy, because most of the other clubs are organising maybe a club coach or a minibus, but we're organising flights for our international travel. But it really just kind of highlights, how well we're doing as a club. As winners of the YDL finals, we automatically then qualify for European club champs over in, well, this year it was Portugal. So hence the flight bookings required. So yeah, made us very, very proud to be the club that we are. So I'm delighted to say that both John and Linda won their categories. So that was fantastic. Both very deserving in this award. And then the third of our members up for an award this week was our fabulous new Olympian, Sam Rearden. The awards were the England Athletics Sporting Equals Awards, which celebrate the outstanding achievements and contributions of ethnically diverse communities. Sam was nominated in the Male Athlete of the Year category, and it would be no surprise to hear that Sam was the very deserving winner of that award. I would just add though, so while what he's achieved athletically this year has been phenomenal, and with the pressure that he's dealt with at such a young age, it's really quite remarkable. But the way he's handled himself post-Olympics has been really tremendous. He's given us so much of his time. He came to speak to us in the club room, which was lovely. He spent hours with the kids at the open meet. And in the last couple of weeks, he was over at the Bromley London Youth Games sort of celebration event with his medals, talking to all the kids across all different sports. So really, he's an absolute fantastic ambassador, a brilliant role model, and very proud of him for what he's achieved this year. So very deserving of that award for Sam. I think Nigel is getting a little worried that he's not getting back to training at the minute. But
He was training last night.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay. He's curbed his social engagements. Yes, so huge congratulations to our award winners. Now the second piece of club news was that last Friday here in the clubhouse we had the first of what we hope to be an annual event, the Athletics Address. This was organised by our trustee Ian Young and featured Frank Dick, OBE, who is President of the European Athletics Coaches Association and who was Director of Coaching at the British Athletic Federation from 1979 to 1994. So it was a very interesting, very well attended and very entertaining evening. We also had Tim Hutchings who was here. He was here to kind of direct the Q&A session afterwards, which unfortunately was a little bit short at the end, but I think Frank's talk had kind of overrun a little bit and time ran away from us, but it was certainly looking like it would have been a very, very interesting evening. Yeah, so that was super, and definitely agree it was a great success and something that we hope will carry on in the future. So thanks to Ian for organising that and for those that were able to come out on Friday. So final little piece of club news before we move on to the results is of course Montel's Strictly update. It was movie week for Montel last week. She and Johannes were dancing the tango to the Dreamgirls movie. It was quite a tricky night for Team Mojo. Don't know if you saw. They finished 4th from bottom on the leaderboard, so it was slightly nerve-wracking. Thankfully though, they are through to next week. So thank you to those who voted and watched. This week they're dancing a Viennese waltz, and so hopefully as they go forward, Montel will become more comfortable with the high heels. As an athlete who's grown up in trainers, she's struggling with the high heels, so we wish her all the very best. I think we've just got to keep her in for longer, because the more she's in, the more she'll get used to it, and the better she'll be. So anyway, good luck to them both this Saturday. Right, moving on to our results roundup. The big event of the weekend was of course the English National Road Relay Champs up at Sutton Coldfield. We had 2 minibuses full of our younger athletes, although we did have a bit of a nightmare because on the Thursday before we were due to go, one of the buses had a broken clutch, and it was a bit of a panic trying to find a substitute bus, but we got one in the end. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning, 2 buses headed up to Birmingham for our the first race going off at 11. So thank you to our drivers Mike Reeves and Paul Shaw, and Micah Evans, who was chaperone for the weekend. Our tent crew of Paul Ostrich, Dave Cordell and Ken Daniels had the tent up and in a prime spot before any other team had arrived. So we really were setting our stall out early, which was fantastic. And it was a really good day. Had a few hiccups on the day, but that's what happens. But we had 3 of our teams making top 10 and an additional 3 teams making top 20. So first up we had our under 13 boys of Emery Aldridge, Zach Evans and Harry Biraj. They're all first year under 13s and came a fabulous 7th out of 44 teams, which is really quite something in a national event. So we're very much looking forward to seeing how they'll get on next year when they're top of age group. But a great start off for the under 13 boys. Our under 13 girls of Isabella Jenkins, Harriet Hughes and Leila Badisha came a very credible 30th out of 53 teams. And then in the under 15 boys we had 3 teams. The first team, our A team, finished 9th with Cian Farrell, Daniel Horgan and James Shaw. And then the B team finished 18th, which is really impressive. James Bunn, Zach Kelman and Finn Gopkin, again all first year under 15, so really well done for them and exciting to see how they'll go next year. And then we had an incomplete C team with Jake Martin and Ricardo Cervera, so great turnout from the under 15 boys. Again 2 teams in the under 15 girls. It was a 16th out of 55 for Aoife McDonough, Evie De Bruyne and Sophia Mossy. And then an incomplete B team with Halba Homans-Yao and Charlotte Stevens. Our under 17 women finished 16th out of 37 teams with Naima Mossy, Christina and Megan Barlow. And then we had an incomplete B team of Lily Bridgman and Angelina Monarca. The senior women, who were all actually under 20s, a very young team, of Hannah Clark, Libby White and Caris Firth, and then Olivia Maggie Brown, finished 40th. But given they were such a young team, that was really quite credible performance. And we had a very strong run from Hannah Clark on the first leg. I think she came in 7th, which was fantastic. I think Libby White, who's also coming back from injury, she had a very strong run on Saturday. So a great result there for our under 20s/senior women. Okay, so the under 17 men was the event we were all kind of hanging out for. We had our Triple J's, Jed Starvis, Joe Skeins and Joseph Hill, who were winners at the South of England Road Relay Champs, so they were gunning for the win up at Nationals. We did have an unfortunate mishap for Jed on the first leg when he got tripped up by a dog on a lead. Took a really nasty fall, but to his credit he jumped straight back up and cracked on, possibly a little too exuberantly though, and faltered a little on the final uphill finish. But the team finished 3rd, a very credible 3rd. And I think actually if they had finished 3rd without incident, we'd have been fantastic. Well done, boys. That's great. But there's definitely a sense that that lost opportunity. It was very close in the end. So they've got a final chance in a few weeks' time up at Mansfield in the national cross-country relays. So they'll be going to redeem themselves up there. But we had two other teams, two other under-17 teams. So our B team of Ben O'Grady, Oliver Ward and Lucas Elmquist finished 33rd out of 67. Again, all first year under-17, so great from them. And then we had Nathan Clark and Henry Versta in an incomplete team. And Nathan Clark was another one who took a tumble, who unfortunately ran into the back of a boy who had run into a bollard. So that was he took a very nasty fall there. But credit to him, he also got up and got round. So well done to all those who had took part up near Birmingham. The only other event this weekend was the Bromley Trials for the London Youth Games cross country. We held the trial, so on behalf of the Borough of Bromley, we were hosting the trials. We had it in Elmfield Woods for the first time, which was a more authentic experience rather than just running around the park. So quite a lot of work involved in getting the course set up. But I had great help from Mike Crossan, who I must acknowledge, who did a sterling job, and we had a great team of volunteer helpers from our parents throughout the club. So that was super. We had a great day. We had 191 kids sign up for the trials, which is a remarkable number. Most of those were under 11s, which is great, because they are, of course, our stars of the future. But we had a very successful day, so we look forward to the team announcements coming through in the next couple of weeks, and then the final race, the actual race itself, is November the 16th over at Parliament Hill. So one other little set of results that I've received this week was the Croydon Schools cross-country champs, where 3 of our club members were competing and all did very well. First up was Harry Buraj, one of our under-13s. He was first home in the year 7 race, sorry. Alex Martin, first home in the year 11 race. And Alex had also competed at the weekend in the Hever Castle Duathlon, where he finished second and qualified for the European Duathlon Champs next year. So well done to Alex. And then finally, Megan Slattery came third home in the year 13 race. So well done to our Croydon School runners. Moving on to our park run, facts and podiums. We had 51 runners this week, so we were up on last week's 40, and in 27 different locations. And the furthest from the clubhouse, almost 22 hours away, was Theo Wood, who finished 10th at St Peter's Park Run, which is near Sydney in Australia. So quite an easy one for the furthest from the clubhouse. Okay, so our Bromley Club champs. First home for the club was James Meader, second home was Kevin Finney, and third home was Douglas Varney. And then our podiums, our first place finisher, just the one, was Kevin Finney, who was at Bromley. Our second place finishers, we had James Meader at Bromley, we had Thomas Desborough at Orpington, Ryan Afford Smith at Dover Waterfront, who's also first junior, and Jenny Allen, who was second lady over at Tunbridge. And then finally our first placers, we had 5, which is great, 3 ladies and 2 men. At Bromley, first lady was Trang Nguyen. At Clapham Common, we had Jess Keane. And then at Bethlehem Royal Hospital, first lady was Jenny Butler. And then for the boys, at Swanley, Leon De Bruin. And then at Cycle Park, Graham Luger. So that's our results and park run. Coming up this Friday, here in the club room, it's the Vice President's Supper, organised for the 15th year by Tony Pontifex, so thank you Tony for that, and we're looking forward to that certainly. On Saturday morning it's the first round of the Kent Cross Country League over at Footscray Meadows, so looking forward to that. We've got plenty of teams heading across there. And then on Saturday evening, back here in the clubhouse, it's the under-13s end of season celebration from a really successful track season. So that's organised by their fabulous team managers, Karen Desborough and Joe Martin, so that's sure to be a fun night for them. Fun night, celebrations and awards. So now I'll hand over to David. Oops.
Right, so I just wanted to pass on some very sad news which we received today. So I heard from Mike Peel that Terry Shotton died this morning. I mean, as you know, Terry'd been suffering for a while with respiratory issues for some considerable number of years. But I'm sure all of us who've been here on a Wednesday night, well, most of us remember because we've got empty pockets, because she used to come and fleece us for as much money as she could to put on the bonus ball, and she did that. She raised thousands over the period of time she did the bonus ball for the club. A fantastic effort. She was also a regular marshalling, helping out at the finish all across countries until very, very recently. And she was also a regular park-run volunteer at Bethlehem Royal. I think she was there basically every week until really just a few months ago, when unfortunately her health prevented her from doing it. So we don't know any arrangements yet. We'll let you know those as and when they come in. Mike's a little bit upset about it. As you consider the two of them were a couple for about 30 years, so I'm sure he's feeling it. So rather than stand up for a minute's silence, I'm going to suggest that it will be better that we thank Terry by giving her a round of applause for to celebrate her life rather than the rest of it. So if we could do that. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, now I'll let you gavel.
My pleasure.
I'm out of practice.
Well, you haven't forgotten that. Okay, is there any other news that I've maybe forgotten? Richard,
This Saturday is the Bromley Primary School's cross country, and to add even more to Sam's list, he's our special guest, and apparently he's also making an appearance at Oak Lodge School next Monday. So he's fitting in his training around all his social engagements. But if you fancy seeing the thrills and spills of watching 10, 11-year-olds run around Crystal Palace Park, we're expecting about 1,500 children from 61 schools in the borough. It's a record. First race 9:20 on the top level at Crystal Palace Park.
brilliant.
On Sam, Chris Haynes tells me that he was at Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Was that right, Chris, last
Oh,
week
yeah, there's
as well?
a picture of him in a jersey with
Yeah.
medals and everything.
Yeah.
So he's everywhere. Okay, that's us, I think. Okay, good night.